Hey, what's going on, guys? Thank y'all for tuning in to my Resident Evil 7 Biohazard review. I know I haven't made a video in a while. Just mainly been busy, but I've also just hasn't really been much to talk about lately. Yeah, there's a few movies here and there that I really enjoy, but there really just isn't anything that's worth making a video on, or I'm just a lazy bum. So I don't know, but I want to try to get back into making videos. Uh, Hopefully this will kind of jumpstart my inspiration and my just getting back into videos. So let's get right into it. Just finished the game today, and so yeah, here's my review. So Resident Evil 7 Biohazard. It starts off great. It's got a great introduction. You start off as this guy named Ethan, and he gets an email from his girlfriend Mia. She's been missing for about a year now, and you recover this video. It doesn't really say how she gets. I think it's an email maybe, but later in the game, I'm not going to spoil it, but later in the game, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but whatever. He finds this video of her, and apparently she's alive and she's okay, and but that kind of makes him want to go after her, even though she says, "Do not come here." He goes after her still, which is kind of stupid. And so he finds out that she's in this place in like complete backwoods, Louisiana bayou kind of place. And I just want to say here, this is a fantastic setting for not only a video game, but especially for a survival horror video game like this. It is so refreshing to not get, the asylum, I don't even know what games are like, just asylum, like Outlast, Evil Within. Even though those are great games and those have, they definitely have the scare factor and they have a lot of suspense, it's just overused. This is a great new setting, and not only do I love the setting in any kind of game, but especially for a survival horror game like this, it's a great idea and I love it. And so he goes to this place, and it's great. Like I said, the environment's great. It's this old haunted house. It's kind of like if I'd have to explain it like this, it's like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the video game. It's pretty much exactly like that kind of house. So he gets there, and it's this old creepy house. There's rotting food everywhere, and the Baker family lives there. Now the Baker family, they are, even though I would like to see a little bit more characterization, for the most part, they are a fantastic villain for this game, or main villain for the game. They are extremely creepy, especially the main guy, which they call Daddy, which, no, is not used in a kind of kinky way, but his name is just Daddy. And he is a great villain, man. I love this guy. In fact, all the villains, I loved how most, if not all, the villains and kind of their boss battles, or when you're fighting them, or when they're just chasing you around, they talk to you. I loved that because not only, I mean, they're saying really creepy stuff, but that just adds to the scare factor and the suspense of being chased by some creepy guy who's saying like, "Oh, come here," just stuff like that. I loved how they talk to you. So yeah, I mean, the first hour of the game is just a ton of fun. A lot of scares, a lot of suspense. You don't really know what's going on, what's going to happen, and it really just sets the stage for your expectations for pretty much the whole game. Now, I do have a complaint about the main character, Ethan. His voice acting is pretty good. I mean, it's probably average, but he doesn't say much, surprisingly. You would think that a character like him, I mean, this dude gets his leg cut off, he gets his arm cut off, he gets limbs cut off. Stabbed multiple times. He barely has any reactions. This dude doesn't talk at all. It's really, I mean, it's a noticeable thing that's just really odd. And speaking about the attaching limbs and stuff like that, yeah, or detaching limbs, he gets them back. An aspect of the game which I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, because this is my first Resident Evil game that I've complete. I've played 4, I've almost completed it, but I just got too fed up with it. I didn't like it anymore. So I didn't beat it. It was alright. but I'm sure they do this in the other games, but they have a fluid in this game. It's kind of like first aid, and of course this game kind of has to have like a first aid system, like all games do pretty much. But it's just you take this fluid, and if you pour it on you, it heals you, and it can even reattach limbs. Like I said, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt considering how this is a Resident Evil game, but if this was any semi or even realistic or semi-realistic game, I just rolled my eyes a little bit at it. It was kind of silly, but whatever. And but when they do get cut off, and pretty much whenever you get attacked, you don't have to. I mean, the death animations are great, but even if they grab you and they kind of mess with you a little bit, they throw you away and you still live, those animations are great. It's awesome. They did a great job with that with the first-person animations. They're fantastic. There are a few jump scares in the game, and yes, they do seem a little bit cheap from time to time, like enemies, they wait for you to go across the corner and then jump out at you and then get right in your face. That does seem a little but I mean, I did not like it too much. I thought it was okay. The boss battles in the game are a lot of fun. You face all three members of the family and a couple more on the side. My favorite one would probably have to be the Big Daddy one, or I'm thinking of Bioshock. Just the old man, the daddy one. That's the very first one, and it's a lot of fun. Different variation or different stages of the boss fight, and I'm sure you've seen it, so this isn't a huge spoiler, but it's really odd because you're in a garage and he takes over the car and he starts running you over with this car that's really small space. I think they did this on purpose. This game can be a little it can be pretty funny sometimes. That's what I liked about it a lot, was because it still maintained the suspense and the horror, but it did, especially with the daddy character, it played around a little bit. I think he was a really interesting character, and I wish I would have seen a little bit more of him, but he was a great character when he lasted. The game provides several VHS tapes. I believe I played about 3 or 4. And of course you don't watch them because they're rather lengthy and it would be rather boring, but you actually play as the characters who are filming the VHS tapes. And I thought this was a great kind of side mission, side objective in the game. And you play as, I'm not going to spoil it, but you play as a couple of characters. And this is a whole lot of fun, especially the very first one that you play. The voice acting overall is great. The family, especially Daddy, is voiced tremendously. Ethan is pretty good, like I said. Mia is especially good. Ethan's girlfriend, wife, whoever she is, she was very, her voice acting was very good. But Daddy would probably have to be the best one. The boss battles in the game, like I said, are pretty good. The main 3 have very good boss battles, but there are 2, well, technically 1, but I'll just go with 2. I'm not going to spoil it, but you have to play it to understand what I'm saying. There are 2 towards the end that are just a tiny bit on the cheesy side. I get how this is a Resident Evil game, and they kind of have to, I guess, they have a little bit of the boss battles from the beginning. Didn't have to, but it has a lot of the big scale boss battles from the beginning, and I kind of wish they would have stayed with the smaller scale battles from the beginning of the game. Not even the beginning of the game, like 2/3 of the game were really just self-contained smaller boss battles that were still great, and those are the best ones in the game. But the big 2 towards the end, I just kind of had to roll my eyes a little bit, especially the one at the very, very end, the final one. I just thought it was just your typical kind of cheesy boss battle, shoot the weak points, stuff like that. I just kind of roll my eyes a little bit, but it's whatever. I played this game on PC. PC optimization is very good. It can be taxing on your system though, but it does use almost 100% of your power, and it used 99% of my GPU. So the GPU usage was as high as it can go, and I love that games do that. They utilize all the system's power, which I really like. So overall, this was a great introduction for me personally to the Resident Evil franchise. Like I said, I did play 4, but I just didn't like it that much. It was a little dated from time to time, and I just heard all the other ones kind of suck, especially the newer ones. They were just kind of like action films. But this one goes back to the horror roots. Sorry, my dogs. It goes back to the horror roots, and I really enjoyed that. So overall, I'm going to give it a score of a 8 out of 10. I was going to go for a high 7, but considering how it goes back to the horror roots, it's a great survival horror. It has a lot of scares. I really enjoyed it. So that's an 8 out of 10. It's a little bit of, it's a mid to low 8, but it's an 8 out of 10. So, sorry my dogs, I have to end it now. But, yeah, that's my review. Thank you all for watching, and have a good one. She downstairs? What? Ah! Oh, my finger.